Welcome everyone to season 6, episode 14 of the Focus TV. Got Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardo Dudley Jr., and I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. And we got quite a bit to get through this week. Happy to have everyone back. We had Ray and Cardell, the Wizards, last week, which Ray, I have the latest on them. A little bit later, start with Octavia in the NFC East. Quick update on DC United. Then we'll talk about what's happening over in college basketball with both sides of the bracket. Very exciting on the men's and women's. We got number ones going down, some fun upsets. Can't wait to see what everybody has to say about all of that and more. But Octavia, we'll start with you. Your thoughts. I guess just any update you have in the NFC East.
First, I want to say I think it's cool we all have on black. We didn't plan it, but it just worked that way. It's like we missed each other. um, yeah, like you said, first week of free agency went nuts. This past week, it's been a little bit quieter, but some of the teams in NFC East still are making moves, as I would expect them to do. Probably for the next couple of weeks, even though we're getting ready to get ready for the draft soon. The Washington Commanders haven't done too much since the last time we talked. They did have a free agent linebacker Anthony Walker visit on Monday. There still hasn't been any reports about if that's going to come into any type of signing for them as of now. They also signed DLFA Obata. I'm terrible with those names. So he's returning again on a 1-year deal. Probably the biggest news for them this week, the quarterback Jacoby Brissett has agreed to a 1-year contract with the Washington Commanders. The deal is worth up to $10 million and includes $8 million guaranteed. So with them losing Taylor Heineke as well as Carson Wentz being released, Sam Howell being the only one there at the time, now they have Jacoby Brissett in the fold, and we'll see if they'll be looking to add anybody else. Hopefully nobody that is within the area. Last but not least, for the Washington Commanders, they did also lose somebody. So the Jets has signed former Commander offensive lineman Wes Schweitzer. So that is also somebody they lost, but that was pretty much all they did so far this week. Again, who knows what can happen next, the closer and closer we get to the draft. Also, the New York Giants were still a little bit busy this week as well. As we talked about last week, they were able to trade for Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders, but they were also able to kind of tweak his contract this week. So they converted $9.835 million of the newly acquired tight end Darren Waller's 2023 base salary into a signing bonus, creating $7.86 million in cap space. So freeing up a little more money for them to potentially get some more players. They also re-signed wide receiver Darius Slayton on a 2-year deal. He led the Giants with 724 receiving yards last year. And hopefully he's looking to stay healthy this year. As we know, that was probably one of their biggest Achilles heels last year. Their wide receivers and their player personnel really weren't healthy. So it's interesting to see how healthy he'll be this year. Somebody else that's coming over to fill a wide receiver position is Paris Campbell, is signing a 1-year deal with the Giants. Of course, he previously played with the Indianapolis Colts. So somebody else in that wide receiver room. And they also re-signed Jahad Ward, linebacker, to a 1-year deal for them. And another wide receiver that they got, former New York Jets wide receiver Jeff Smith, has also agreed to terms with the Giants. So it seems like the Giants are trying to give Daniel Jones a bevy of different targets, and I guess just trying to figure out which one is going to work the best for him, which one he likes the best. So it's like they just brought in a bunch of them and said, play with these and figure out which one you like. Probably the biggest loss to the Giants this week, former New York Giants safety Julian Love reached an agreement to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Love started 16 games last year and 32 over 4 seasons with the Giants. So he will be leaving that defense. So they're really going to see how they're going to be able to replace him. Again, I'm sure I just have a feeling the Giants are done as well. I feel like this team just did a whole lot in this last week, and I don't know how much I like it because they just been doing too much in my opinion. The Dallas Cowboys did a lot this week. I don't know how much I like it. It was too much. They did agree to a deal to re-sign defensive end Dante Fowler Jr., so keeping him in the defensive fold. They have also agreed. Well, before I say who they agreed to, let's talk about who they lost as well. We talked about this last week after all the talks about Ezekiel Elliott in the offseason. He has been officially released by the Dallas Cowboys, so he will no longer be a Dallas Cowboy. As well as the Houston Texans made 2 major additions this week, but one of them being tight end Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys. So they have lost that tight end and also lost Ezekiel Elliott. Probably to kind of bolster up their running back room with losing Ezekiel Elliott. The Dallas Cowboys have also agreed to a deal with running back Ronald Jones, who visited on Monday. He is expected to go ahead and sign and will be in the fold with them. We've been talking about wide receivers for the Dallas Cowboys probably since Amari Cooper got released last year. And there's been so many rumblings with the Odell Beckham situation and what are they going to do? Do they want him? The DeAndre Hopkins being on video with Des Bryant, like it's a lot. But the Dallas Cowboys have acquired wide receiver Brandon Cooks from the Houston Texans in exchange for 2 draft picks. So Brandon Cooks coming from Houston, just going down to Dallas. We know how disgruntled he was in Houston. So I'm sure he's happy to be out of that situation. Brandon Cooks, I believe, out of pretty much every year he's played, he's acquired 1,000 yards in receiving every year. So he seems to be a good sturdy option for Dak Prescott, a good number 2 behind CeeDee Lamb. And again, we expect Michael Gallup to have a better year coming off of the injury. The Dallas Cowboys are also re-signing special teams player CJ Goodwin to a 1-year contract. They are also keeping their backup quarterback, Cooper Rush. He has agreed to a 2-year deal worth $5 million that includes a $1.25 million signing bonus. So he will stay and back up Dak Prescott after the great job he did last year, but Dak went out with the thumb injury. And then they have also signed Adoba, I can't say his name, to a 1-year contract, offensive lineman. So trying to bolster up the offensive line, of course. And then last but not least, they just restructured a couple of contracts. They restructured the contract of DeMarcus Lawrence, opening up $8.89 million in cap room, as well as tackle Tyron Smith, which opened up. He was slated to make $13.6 million in the final year of his contract. So did a little moving around so that way they have a little bit more money. Who knows what they'll end up doing as well. And last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles. Today they signed linebacker Nicholas Morrow. Coming out of Chicago, I guess we're just swapping linebackers. They took TJ, we take him. I don't know how much of an even swap that is, but I guess we'll find out when the season starts. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles announced that they've agreed to terms with former Saints safety Justin Evans to a 1-year deal. Again, I guess we just keep going back to the same places and taking their safeties. Speaking of safeties, yes, cornerback safety CJ Gardner-Johnson was signed by the Detroit Lions. It's just a lot going on with that. I haven't read everything that's online. Apparently, it's been stuff, but he's gone. He had a great year. Of course, he's looking for the money. Not surprised. Congrats to him, and may he do well in Detroit. The Philadelphia Eagles have also agreed to a 1-year contract with former Cleveland Brown cornerback Greedy Williams, which I think is a solid pickup, especially being able to keep Bradbury that we signed last week and also able to retain Darius Slay. There have been numerous rumblings that he was set to be released, but they agreed to an extension, 3 years, $42 million. That includes $23 million fully guaranteed. And he will be Philadelphia Eagles for the foreseeable future. They were also able to retain Fletcher Cox on a 1-year deal worth $10 million. I'm sure he could have got more than that somewhere else, but seems like they say he took a hometown discount to stay. I'm convinced that if this isn't his last year, I don't know when it is. Lastly, a couple of people that were leaving. Of course, CJ Gardner-Johnson went to the Lions. Wide receiver Zach Pascal, who was there for a year, is signing a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. Following behind Jonathan Gannon, handed over there to the Cardinals, who's their now new head coach. I don't know why I can't talk today. Also, from the stellar offensive line, Isaac Seumalo signed a 3-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That kind of sucks, to be completely honest. But you got to get the money, and you can't pay everybody. So congratulations to him. Also, Gardner Minshew has left the building. He is no longer the backup quarterback for Jalen Hurts. That reminds me, I left one person out. Marcus Mariota is actually taking his place. Philadelphia Eagles signed Marcus Mariota to a 1-year, $5 million deal up to $8 million. So he'll be backing up Jalen, which I honestly think is a good move. I like the move. He's kind of a mobile quarterback, so kind of could keep everything together. If something were to happen to Jalen, knock on wood. Probably one that hurt the most, Carolina Panthers playing aside Philadelphia Eagles running back Miles Sanders. I just don't like it. It reunites Miles with Deuce Staley, who is now in Carolina after being in Detroit last year. So familiar territory for him. I think he's making this year more than what our entire running back room would make this year. So there's no way we could have afforded him. So it's early still, in my opinion, in the free agency market. Who knows what else is going to happen in the NFC? There's still multiple things that have happened, and multiple things that are happening around the league. And I'm sure the closer we get to the draft, the crazier it'll get.
For sure. I expect madness first round, right after those quarterbacks come off the board. But, Ray, shout out to the Cowboys. It was real weird doing positive things this week. I feel like they kind of set the week off a little bit, and that's probably why I got all them upsets later. But with the Wizards, Ray, what the heck have they been up to?
Losing. Yeah, man, it's vacation time, obviously. They were in a position to to be eligible for the play-in, but they haven't been taking care of business. And the teams that were behind them have. I mean, we're coming down the stretch here. Teams are looking to either hold their positions or improve their sliding standards. So, guys are in kill mode. Teams are ramping it up, and the Wizards haven't been responding. At the moment, they are down 60-56 to the Orlando Magic. No coups tonight. Bill's struggling to get started. He's 1 for 7, has 6 points. Denny's been solid off the bench. He's got 12, 4 for 4 from the field, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But yeah, man, they're in a state of collapse right now. Since the All-Star break, they just haven't put their foot on the gas like they needed to kind of solidify their self and their position. On a positive note, it's been good to see Johnny Davis getting some minutes. He's been back and forth between the Wizards and the Go-Go this year. Me and Cardell at the game last week, and you could tell where where the improvements came from. The time with the Go-Go has done him some good. He looks like he's getting adjusted to the pro level. Early in the season just looked like deer in headlights. But it looks like it's he's kind of gotten over the jitters at this point. And it's just good to see him get pro minutes at the big stage. So shouts out to him. But yeah, man, this team is they're in a weird spot right now, man. And things could get funky this summer. So we'll see. But in the words of Wilson, they didn't have to be here. So yeah, man, it is what it is at this point. They're gonna have some decisions to make over this summer and next year. Guys are gonna want to get paid. And we'll see how that shakes out. But as it stands, they're 32-39 on the year, and it looks like they're gonna slide out of they're already out of play-in contention. And it doesn't look like they're gonna make up that ground in these last 10.5 games. So, start looking at lottery picks.
I think that was the kindest way to say it. I know you and Cardell were alluding to that on the last Wizards Outlook. And just a reminder, as they continue to close out this month with so many games. We'll see some of y'all later tonight for Wizards Outlook and later this week as well. But we're going to take our first break. When we return, going to start looking at these brackets. I can't wait to see what y'all have to say on both the men's and the women's side. As some people's brackets already got burnt. Like I'm talking about first opening day. Brackets gone. So happy I didn't fill anything out this year. Definitely would have been in my feelings about it. But you're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, let me go ahead and get this up on screen for you guys. Guess we'll start looking at the men's bracket. Look, Cardell, we haven't heard from you too much yet tonight. Your thoughts on the men's bracket? What's been going on so far?
For me, it's no shock. Even before the tournament, I felt like a lot of the top seeds would get eliminated solely because of the transfer portal. It's created a lot of parity in college basketball. You can come up quick if you're a low major. You can rebound quick if you quote unquote high major. And I honestly think that's dead. I don't think it's high major. It's only high major from recognition and prestige and, of teams being successful over decades or whatnot. You could literally just go in the portal, have like 4 wins, and if you get the right players, the right seasoned players, you could be in the tournament making noise. Kind of like what we saw from Fairleigh Dickinson. I know they lost to Florida Atlantic, but they didn't even win their own conference tournament. Merrimack did, but they got in because Merrimack just got to Division I, so to speak, man. And they took it and ran with it. Coach talks trash. Say after the first win, I think we could beat Purdue, and went out there and did it. College Player of the Year, Zach Edey. Now, to give him credit, he showed up. But that goes to show you why the transfer portal is so important, because Purdue got all these 4 or 5-star guards, but they were freshmen. They were young. They weren't used to the stage, and physically, and as far as physically and the know-how, they weren't on the level of Fairleigh Dickinson guards who transferred up from the Division II level, their backcourt, who were both 5'8" and 5'9". That was their backcourt, but they killed on the D2 level. You know what I mean? And they won a lot of games. They did a lot of damage, and they returned minded kids, and they have a lot of experience. They got on the Division I level and outplayed those guys, and they were the win, and they were the reason why they won, man. And that kind of is what you're seeing across the board, man. You saw Duke go down. You know what I mean? Like you need now to win, you need experience, and you need guys that understand the college game, that has experience, that know how, and it can adjust quickly. Because if you don't have that, you won't last. And that's basically what you're seeing across, definitely the men's side. Now the women's side is a little bit different because the women, talent-wise, is always top heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's rare you're gonna get a gem, a diamond in the rough, and lower tier that's just gonna kill everybody. Like, say for instance, she wasn't really lower tier, but like what John Quill did at GW, having them top 25 or something like that. It's rare you're going to have something like that on the women's side, but on the men's side, it happens all the time. If you're paying attention, man. So, like it's a lottery pick at Hendricks at Central Florida. He's going to be a lottery pick that a lot of people don't even know about. One of the best wings in the country, man. And that's just a primary example of what you're seeing, man. So, I'm not really shocked by a lot of the losses. I don't understand why people are, but I get it. People are stuck on names. Most people are casual fans. They don't really pay attention. That's really what it comes down to. I guess the most shocking situation was when Furman beat Virginia, the way they lost. Because Kid Clark, when I say he's the most probably the most sure-handed point guard in the country, When I mean like he don't make mistakes, that's what I mean. Like that mental error he did was just throwing it up, like Ruffin did with the Wizards years ago for the Wizards, and Mo P caught that thing and hit the 3-pointer and beat him. It's just like, and he had timeout. That's what I mean. Like you don't see that from him, and to go out like that in his last college game, throwing it a Hail Mary, they steal it, throw it back at the 3 and beat you. Man, that's tough, dog. Like when I say 6, I'm like, I still won't be talking to nobody. Like, don't call me. I need my space, and I need to chill. So that was probably the most shocking loss, man, because obviously no one had Furman beating Virginia. I ain't going that far as the parity. But the way my man shot that 3, man, you could tell the confidence was there because the game was close. They just needed an opportunity, and that goes to show you what I mean, man. So, look, man, it's tough. You could look at Princeton when they beat Arizona. You know what I mean? It's just it's all over. It's all over, man. So if you don't bring your A game any given night, you can be beat just because of that alone. It's guys on the other side that may have been in a high major program. They ain't get treated right. They ain't get the minutes they felt they deserved, blah, 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 whatever. And they on a mission. So when they go to this other school, they're hoping they run into these guys again so they could prove that they belong and that the coach made a mistake. And that's basically what you're saying, man. So it's gonna be an interesting finish in this finals, man. I think the best player in the tournament is Brandon Miller, obviously from Alabama. I think he making it very interesting for that number 2 pick slot. Obviously, we all know Wembanyama gonna be number 1, but he's making it very interesting. With the schools are shutting it down the way he's balling, man. Getting it done. So especially on the bad wheel. I like what Wilson's UConn is doing. I've been saying all season, man. He got that program back on track, and they could do it because they could kill you inside and out. You know what I mean? So, and they got experience as well, especially with Kansas being out, and you know what I mean, things like that. So, it's gonna be tough. We're gonna see. And Izzo, I don't know what it is. I don't know why they keep doubting this dude. No matter who he has, who he recruits, who he signs. I always call him the Coach K, the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? And probably to me, with Coach K retired, he's the best coach in America because you can give him anybody and they're gonna just win games, and he's proven it. I don't even know if they got an NBA player on their roster right now. Yeah, they're in the Sweet 16, so it's gonna be very interesting, man. But I'm enjoying. I love the parody, man, because I hate when people just just be stuck on names and just lie. We going to North Carolina and pencil them in. They're going to get to the Final Four. Nah, those days are over. Transfer portal done killed all that. Hell, it's going to be players from probably North Carolina that transfer. You know what I'm saying? You can come out quick. Look, partner up in UMass the Well Bird, 1 game from the tournament, bunch of transfers. You know what I mean? Like that's how they got there real quick. So you made the leap. You know what I mean? So. I love what we saying, man. I know a lot of people don't like the transfer portal because it hurts the high school seniors. Like my advice to them is, hey man, step your game up. It is what it is. What's the point of crime? And they say it's harder than ever go Division I. I'm like, no, it's not. Even when I was in college, guys were staying 3 or 4 years. So there were no scholarships. There weren't that many scholarships to go around. So you had to really hoop to get those offers and make a coach like, if I got 1 scholarship, why should I, put it on you? So you had to really ball, man. So it's just different. It's tough, but it's different. But regardless, step your game up, you'll get your opportunities, man. And you're just seeing it all the way, all around. It's parity all around because the guys, everybody that transferred Division I, they're not staying in Division I. They're going down to D2, and those guys are going down to D3. So it's just trickling down. And those guys, some are going JUCO, so to try to prove themselves again. So I don't think this is going away too much longer. I think the extra year from COVID, that's going to go away because those guys are starting to graduate, and the guys that were affected by it, with the transfer portal, I don't think it's going away because as much as people hate it, it can benefit you if you do it right, if you utilize it right, you get your type of players. So once again, I love it, man. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Death Tax and Tom Izzo's team is going to be ready for March. I don't care what they look at beginning of the year. You're going to have them folks ready. Octavia, your thoughts on the men's tournament?
I mean, honestly, Cardell covered everything. Like everything he said was basically everything that I was thinking too. Like that, I've been hearing a lot more about the transfer portal because it's like it's not a bunch of like 17-year-olds playing against 17-year-olds. It's like 21 like older guys that are a little bit more like tenured or have more seniority in the game. And you can tell that they're playing at a higher level. And it's like if you're just looking at the big names and the big teams, like I think I saw something on ESPN. It was like it's like the first time I don't even know how many years like all the blue bloods haven't made it to the Sweet 16. So I think it's good for the game too because, like you said, it opens up a lot of people's eyes to different programs. It opens up, to really see who's coaching. Honestly, and like you was talking about, that was the one I was really thinking about was Izzo because I was like, nobody's talked about Michigan State all year, in my opinion. If they have, it hasn't been a lot. And all he does is he just gets them to where they need to be. And I love it, like I watched the Maryland Alabama game and to see because I don't get to watch them as much during the year because I'm pretty much watching the girls. But to see Brandon Miller play, I was like, yeah, it's kind of good, guys. So it was really good. I'm interested. I'm ready for the second round now. Like I feel like the first week is always like overload because there's so many games going on at once. Like I really can't get into one game without seeing a notification that another game is like going to the wire. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go look at this and I gotta go back. So I'm ready for, the Sweet 16 so we can kind of get a chance to like really dig into every team.
Ray, anything you wanted to add to the men's tournament?
I mean, yeah, just reiterating the point that the parity, like guys got to do work now. You know, a guy like Calipari at Kentucky that kind of made his bones just cycling in lottery picks every year and coming back with a group of freshmen. I don't think it's gonna work no more, man. Like because as Cardell pointed out, man, is guys are grabbing seasoned dudes and they're doing work. And no matter how good you were your senior year of high school, that transition to the next level is different, man, because everybody's as good as you were once you move up. So those days of just grabbing 8 talented guys and running through everything that's a wrap, man. But it's pros and cons to the transfer portal, but like I said, man, it's here to stay. Get used to it, adapt, and learn how to keep your job. Because that name on the front of the jersey, it means nothing. It means nothing at this point. So yeah, and it makes for a really exciting March. March Madness is always, it's probably the best sporting event in America. But now with guys at these smaller schools being able to, to show up the bigger names, it just makes it that much more appealing. So yeah, man, I'm loving it. Like I don't even waste time doing a bracket no more because it's no use. They might as well remove the seating because once that ball go up, the numbers on the left of the team name is non-existent, man. Anything can happen. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to the rest of it.
And only one blue blood made it, and that's UCLA. They're the only one left in the Sweet 16.
Oh yeah, you're right, my bad.
So tough out here.
Hey man, I'm here for all of it. Transfer portal works both ways.
But them high major programs, the blue bloods, they do have one advantage: the NIL money. They get the right money. That's how they can be like, nah, we gonna get this back to store order. That's still ain't no snap. That's what they can do.
They're like, hey, what's going on? Get back to the way it used to be.
I mean, you're not lying, but again, that's the each and every one of them schools to use that to their advantage. And the other thing that I enjoy so much more is it literally is, in the play, professional sports, we always talk about, the postseason being so matchup based. Here it is. Like you guys said, you take the number, throw out the window. If Team X worst matchup is Team Y, and they get them in the first round, hey man, it's been real.
And I know some people probably look at this and be like, well, anybody gonna come with money. I'm like, it's a bit different. Like, for instance, we're gonna talk about it later. Rick Pitino just got hired at St. John's. That man hunting money, that man money's a little bit different than, say Howard. I got friends that coach all around the country, and they send me all types of stuff, man. Some of these friends at high major places, they got dudes just donating $10 million just because their daughter went to the school, just like that. Like they're working with a lot more, so it ain't that easy. So expect to see some of these. Look, just expect to see it, man, because you got kids now that rather stay in school and make $300,000 than go to the league and don't know where they might get selected or whatnot. You know what I mean? And be in the G League on a 2-way or something, because they're making more than the G League guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I could still be on campus, be big man on campus and whatever, and make twice the amount that the dudes who try to get to the league are in the G League are making. So it's a very interesting time, man. But that's why I say the transfer portal is here to stay, because now that you got the NIL, let's say you do take the transfer portal, lower majors have no chance. They have no chance, because now the top players going to go to those schools because they got the most money and they can be seen. And meanwhile, the lower majors got to play the usual game, man. We hope we sign good high school players and be around long enough to watch them develop to where we can compete maybe in year 3. So yeah, it's definitely here to stay.
All right, moving on to the women's side of the bracket. Give a quick update on Maryland women. Then ask you guys what you think about the women's side, because we had some crazy upsets just last night. I know I was up last night just watching, like, man, this is nuts. People just, Stanford went down,
Mhm.
early. Like, and that's not typical in the women's tournament. I think it's one of the first times since, like, I think 98, where Nunes number 1 seeds is already out of here. But
On their home court too.
and that's the other part. On the men's, it's neutral sites. On the women's right now, bro, on your home court, at home,
They go on their cribs like, get up out of here, dog.
man. All right, so Maryland won their first and second round games this week, and the first over Holy Cross was they jumped out to a quick lead and did what they were supposed to do. Not going to spend too much time on that. In the second round, they took on 7th-seeded Arizona. It was a close game for a half. Maryland, I can only imagine what Brenda said. Asked a couple players, nobody really got in too much details about what was said, but whatever was said, what needed to be said. They dominated the third quarter, 29-9, and they didn't look back. Fourth quarter was a little sloppy. Held on for the 13-point victory, 77-64. They advanced to the Sweet 16. They're going to take on Notre Dame at a god-awful time on Saturday, 11:30 a.m. So
your appointment on Saturday at 11:30.
Yo, what is going on?
So
with this?
Maryland women, they're putting them through the ringer right now. All right, we got thrown in the South Carolina bracket. Yeah,
That's gonna be
11:30 a.m.
Them early games in college, you ain't no good for like at the first game, dog.
And it's a Sweet 16 game at that. Like, that's what it's right, 11:30 a.m. But again, for just additional coverage of the Terps from first and second round, head over to our Roku channel. We got some post game, post practice, all that good stuff over there. So go ahead and check all that out. All right, man, I'm gonna put this up here. Whoever wants to start, feel free. The women's bracket burnt to crisp already. All right.
That's why I don't do it.
Like Cardell said, it's usually top heavy. However, things have happened.
I mean, the benefit from the portal too. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, Miami getting to Indiana about it on their home. I'm looking forward to the UCLA South Carolina joint. Looking forward to that one. Obviously, Madison Scott hitting those clutch free throws for Ole Miss to knock off Stanford in the crib. They don't realize they don't win it unless she hit those free throws. It was like 30 seconds left. It was something like that. And the defense she was playing on Haley at different times, man. And that's what she really there for, really, her defense. That's what's going to make her a WNBA player, her versatility defensively, and her being from the crib, Bishop McNamara. You got to love it, man. You see Angel, they business as usual. She murdering everybody down at LSU. For LSU right now, she's just being dominant. So I know they're going to keep it going for the most part. They got to be careful because their guard play can be up and down sometimes, man. That's where you can get them. You know what I mean? And they're a very emotional team. So if you don't wilt under their, let's just say, aggression, you know what I'm saying, you can rock them. That's how you rock them. So that's mainly it for me, man. It's just, even in the first round when Princeton got NC State up out of there, you're just seeing a lot of teams where even your home court, you're not safe. You know what I'm saying? If you don't come to play, man. So, I'm loving it, man. I love competition, man. That's just me, man. I hate when you just got, like, it's cool sometimes to have a dominant team, man. Like the UConns, the Tennessees, the South Carolinas, and the run they've been on where they just destroying teams. It's cool to see that here and there, but I like competition, man. I like the suspense. Like, you don't know who's going to win, man. You know what I mean? So, that's going to be fun. That's why I'm excited about the South Carolina UCLA game, because obviously South Carolina got the best player in the country, but UCLA got some pieces too. You know what I mean? Especially on the wing. They got a bunch of big wings, and that might bother South Carolina guards. Their perimeter attack or whatever. I think obviously South Carolina got the advantage inside. They got some big girls in there that get it done. Obviously led by Leah Boston. So that might be their advantage, man. But look, man. And here's another thing. I'm not going to keep it real. Just watching a lot of some of these women's games. If you don't have some tough athletic sisters, you don't have a chance. I'm keeping it a buck. Some of these little private school colonizers, they getting the woof. Hey, man, they meet them sisters, man. Them sisters, hungry sisters, man. Like, it's looking bad. They like, oh my God, like, what is this? They They're not used to the physicality. That's how Ole Miss got. That's how they beat. Let's get real. That's how they beat them. It's eerily similar to what Baylor did on the men's side to Gonzaga a couple years ago, and I'm seeing that a lot in the women on the women's side. Like, yeah, man, if you physical, if you a little soft, man, you have no chance. I don't care how much talent you have no chance.
Hey, them teams with those W-sized wings, it's a different world for some of these 5'8" guards. You can't see anything. You are engulfed. Life is different. Octavia, your thoughts on the women's side and then Ray.
I mean, yeah, like I really like the games that are close, like the ones that you probably didn't. Well, maybe not. I won't say didn't expect to be close, but the games that kind of like you could go up and down. Like the Stanford game threw me for a loop. But like you said, that's how Ole Miss play. Like Ole Miss come to play defense. Like that's why it was a pretty much a lower scoring game. Like yeah, we might not score a lot, but y'all ain't gonna score a lot either. And it's gonna come down to who's making timely buckets, and they were able to do that. The Louisville, Texas game kind of got me a little bit. Haley Van Lith does Haley Van Lith things. I'm just saying the exchange in the handshake line after a game, it gave me flashbacks to that. like what just happened? So I like the healthy competition. I like when girls can play like that. I know Angel talked about it earlier in the year. Like, some girls get told to like calm down, act like a lady, but she like, nah, bro, like y'all talk trash. I'm gonna talk trash too. Like that's what we do. So I like the way that they all been playing. Low key, I like the way Colorado played. I didn't get to watch them a lot this year. And Noah Vonleh's sister, she was out, like you said, like they were down there beating them up. They was beating up Duke. Duke was able to kind of come back in the second half, but they were definitely putting bodies on them in the Miami game was just tough. Like I was like, what is happening like right now? Like it was just like all around. Like I'll be honest, like the first round was probably a little bit like it was a lot of blowouts because you could see the disparity in the talent. Like you said, it could be a little bit top heavy in the women's, but in the second round it got a lot closer, and the games were a lot better. And to speak on the Maryland game, yeah, I wonder what Brenda said to them at halftime to be losing at halftime by 1. And you could tell because Diamond came out and was like, yeah, all right. And I mean, they couldn't stop her at all. They knew exactly what she was going to do. She's going to go down with the left and you're not going to be able to stop her. And they just had no answer for it. I honestly expected for it to be a little bit like, because the first half was good. I expected for it. Well, Arizona started really slow. Maryland went out. Arizona kind of got back into the game. But I expected for it to be a little bit more, but like third quarter when that blowout, I was like, yeah, Maryland not playing no game. So nice to see them make it to the Sweet 16. And I'm just looking forward to, I guess, watching them on my phone while I'm getting my hair done because I don't know who decided to let them play at 11:30 on a Saturday.
Before we move on, did they ever disclose what was said with Haley Van Lith and the Texas players?
I read the
lips. She was like, call me again. And I don't know what Haley said back to her. But she was like,
the sister from Texas and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you can't be talking to me, especially if we won, man. Get the fuck on, man. Like,
I think she addressed it somewhere. Like I saw, like I didn't watch it, but like I think I saw somewhere it's like Haley addressed.
I saw her comment. She did a PC thing, like, yeah, it's just emotion, man. I'm already moved, I already moved on, kind of like that, but. Yeah, you don't be holding me, Slim. Like I ain't like it years ago when Coach K did it to Dylan Brooks. Slim, the game over. We beat y'all. Don't touch me.
Yeah, I was like, bro, we won by 21. Like, let it go.
You got straight mush. Like I would have started a brawl. Like, don't touch me, dog.
Ray, any final thoughts on the women's bracket?
Yeah, man. If you get dubbed, then ain't nothing to talk about. Like she earned the right to say whatever she wants. So move on with your life. But yeah, I definitely got South Carolina UCLA circle, man. I think that might be the best game in this round.
I think
so. That's a more respectable time.
Right. But I'm always excited to see Caitlin Clark play. She definitely been on one. Yeah, man, and LSU, they've been rocking. I mean, it's a lot of good teams left. But yeah, like Cardell said, man, the teams that can get up and down and are physical, I got that athleticism. They having the edge because, and the refs letting them play. That's another big part about it. They get a little more free with the whistle in the tournament, and if you ain't used to that, you're gonna spend too much time thinking about why you're not getting calls instead of hooping, and then you're gonna be at home watching with the rest of us. So go out there and play basketball, man. Like the refs not gonna save you. So yeah, it's been a great tournament so far. You know, but to me, it's South Carolina until South Carolina lose. I mean, they've earned that, and the way they defend, it's gonna be real hard to beat them because if they shooting 6% from the field, you're gonna shoot 4. So that just is what it is, man. Then you got Aaliyah getting double and triple team with bad shooters around her. So that just tells you how dominant she is. So yeah, I'm not betting against them. But should somebody do the seemingly impossible, I would love to see it because that means they're gonna have to play a perfect game. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to these games, man. Hope if we could just get a petition to change the time of that Maryland game by Saturday, my life would be perfect. But other than that, the 11:30 Sweet 16 game is brutal, man. Whose idea was that?
And why do they even start that early?
And to piggyback on what you said, Ray, isn't it amazing when they allow defense to be played and all that freedom of movement, boy, BS is gone, how much more competitive games are and how some players don't look the same?
Mm-hmm.
Such great basketball, man. Like, I don't know, maybe the NBA should adopt that more. Just maybe.
Never.
Little note, I was sitting next to the Arizona radio play-by-play guy during the Maryland game, and it was hilarious because I was trying not to turn. Like, thankfully, I had a mask on, somebody could see my facial expressions. But it took him a while to understand that Maryland's guards were as tall as Arizona's post players. Because what they did was they put their starting point guard on their best post player. Cheyenne Sellers guarded Kate Reese for most of the game. With Diamond fronting as the tallest player on the court. And Faith, who got recruited as a guard, who she drew the short straw post ACL injury playing center, up at the top disrupting things. It was yeah.
And shout out Brenda, man.
Yep.
There ain't too many coaches that can lose what she lost and still be in the
Boy. Boy.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, see that she my type of coach. She a dog, man. I gotta give it to her, man. She like, y'all can go. Just shoot. One not even playing, ain't played this year. Another one killing, no doubt, man. You was number 2 player, you're supposed to do that. But
y'all in the same place.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm saying they in the same place, right? They both in the 16. The other one was an NC State that got bounced out in the first round.
The show will go on. You know, the other transfers, you don't even know where they went. You ain't heard from them since. Disappeared. The show will go on. So that goes to show you, man, it ain't some of these players. It ain't sweet on it ain't sweet when you roll, man. Sometimes you just gotta deal with that tough coaching. And then I saw Diamond co-sign, like, man, hell yeah, man. You should always want to come to, like, she co-signed it. She the only one that didn't roll. Go figure.
Yeah, her and Cheyenne, who gets cussed out quite often, and she jokes all the time that she deserves it, but yeah, they're fine for it. Another thing, Cardell, you talk about the transfer portal. That's what Brenda went to do after she lost, folks. She went in that portal. Shout out to Florida, not one of Lavender Briggs anymore.
Why?
Vanderbilt, I think it was Vanderbilt. I don't know.
Renee Alexander?
I don't know why Renee Alexander wasn't allowed to shoot a basketball for you. Shout out to you. You failed somewhere. I don't get it. She's over here guarding fives in College Park and having the time of her life. It's my first time in the Sweet 16. We had a tournament. They're enjoying. Again, all transfers.
It goes to show you it's different levels of coaching.
Yeah. For sure. And I'm talking about a hell of a job, like you say, Cardell. Because she's had 2 mass exoduses. Sweet 16 again. 2. Yeah. Not to mention the and some of it started from something she couldn't help with the pandemic. Hit that one team who ran through the Big Ten. Yeah. That team that's now displaced.
That was their year, man.
Yeah.
It sucked that got taken away from them.
And the only people left from that are Diamond and Faith. for that big recruiting class. But it is what it is, like you said. Shout out to Brenda for doing what she's done. Get to DC United real quick, and then we will get to rapid fire. The Black and Red fell to 1-2-1 on the year as they weren't able to complete the rally, and they fell on the road to New York City FC, 3-2. NYCFC scored the first 2 goals of the game, coming in the 17th and 37th minutes. The first tally from Thales Magno, and the second coming from Santiago Rodriguez, courtesy of a pass from Gabriel Pereira. Matthias Klick would find Christian Benteke in the 46th minute. It would be Benteke's second goal of the season. Put it up top. Big man went up to go get it. Header, put them on the board. Unfortunately for DC United, they weren't able to get closer. After getting that initial goal, NYCFC would go up 3-1 in the 88th minute via goal from Thiago. Steve Birnbaum scored his first goal of the year. Again, Klick with the assist. But even though there was a substantial amount of stoppage time, DC United just couldn't find the equalizer. They return home this week to host the New England Revolution with a chance to get back on the winning side of things again. As of right now, they're 1-2-1. If they're able to get the 3 points this week, that would be 2-2-1. Season's very early, but they're not done adding players, seemingly. Just this week, DC United announced the signing of Lewis O'Brien on loan from the English Premier League side, Nottingham Forest. O'Brien's loan will conclude on July 16th, 2023, with an option to buy. So it's like we're getting like a real quick little window. Like this is between transfer windows. He got here in this window, and by the next window, he can either be moved again, or they figure something out, and he's here. Wayne Rooney had this to say about the team's newest midfielder. Lewis has been one of the best players in the championship over the last few seasons. He reads the game well and creates goal-scoring opportunities. Bringing him on loan from Nottingham Forest was a great bit of business. For us, it would be a brilliant addition to our midfield. I personally can't wait to see what him and Klick look like in the midfield, and obviously when they get Taxi back. You know what you have up top in Benteke. Getting guys that make the game easier for other folks is never a bad thing. More creators. And again, Benteke, I know he's on the other side of his career, but we know where he spent the majority of his career. That is the top level. Lewis O'Brien is coming from that, so we'll see how he fits in. Also announced today, DC United's head coach Wayne Rooney will serve as this year's MLS All-Star coach as they announce this year's All-Star game opponent. The MLS side will be facing Arsenal FC on Wednesday, July 19th at Audi Field. Going to take our second break. When we get back. See what Cardo has for us in Rapid Fire. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, Cardo, what you got for us this week?
Yeah, kind of got to start off on a sad note. Willis Reed, NBA Hall of Famer, who played his entire career with the Knicks, died earlier today. The NBPA announced he was 80 years old. He was having heart issues over the last year, in and out of the hospital. And today was the day where God called him home. Reed was born in Louisiana and played college basketball at Grambling State. He led Grambling to 3 NAIA championships in 4 years. The Knicks drafted him in the second round of the 1964 NBA draft, and what can you say? The impact was immediate. He won NBA Rookie of the Year and made the first of 7 straight All-Star game appearances, averaging a double-double in each of those 7 seasons. Reed's best season came in 1970 when he averaged a career high 21.7 points and won his only NBA MVP award and first NBA championship. He's nicknamed the captain. Reed became the first player in NBA history to win MVPs in the regular season, All-Star game, and NBA Finals in the same season, and is one of 3 players to ever do so. That year also featured, his most famous moment. After not playing Game 6 after tearing the muscle in his thigh, he missed Game 6. He surprised everyone. Came out for Game 7. He only scored 4 points in the game, but he gutted out 27 minutes. Battling Will Chamberlain to help the Knicks earn their first championship. Just what are your thoughts on, the passing of Reed? And before I move on, he was also an accomplished executive. He coached for a little bit. Then he took over the Nets in an executive role in 1990. He drafted, Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson, Drazen Petrovic, late great Drazen Petrovic. He drafted Yanka Dare, GW, Myers, all those guys. He drafted Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn, Kenyon Martin, what's my man, Mookie Blaylock, drafted him as well in the second round. Who he didn't stay with the Nets. Obviously, he got traded to a couple teams before he settled in the Hawks. Became an All-Star, one of the best defensive players the game has seen. Man, he pretty much did it. He don't get enough credit for what he did, but I know the damage isn't as high as what Jerry West did because Jerry West created dynasties and whatnot. But what he done did as a player and executive, man, I mean, it's a hell of an accomplishment. It's amazing. So, just what are your thoughts? We're gonna start with you, Octavia.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, of course, it's completely sad. It's just kind of weird. Like the older we're getting, like those stars from those years are getting, older, and we're having to have these conversations a little bit more. I always hate that we have to kind of, reminisce about the things that they did, when it comes down to this. But I always remember because my dad is an avid Knicks fan. He's been a Knicks fan his entire life, being from New Jersey. And I remember him all the time talking about watching him as a kid, the Bernard Kings, and all of those play like my dad old, so he done seen all of them. So just to hear those stories and knowing that we lost Bill Russell recently and like now losing Willis Reed, so it's just sad, but although like I said, it's sad and we have to talk about it, but it's always nice to reminisce about the good things that they did, what they mean to the game. Unfortunately, we talk about it when they pass away, but it just kind of reinvigorates the situation at least a little bit. And it kind of opens the door for kids that may have never heard of him, and, open their eyes to who this player was and the type of, person he was. So definitely condolences to his family because that's, who matters the most to him. But it's definitely a tough year for the NBA, losing a lot of legends.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a reminder that as we're getting older, those guys are getting older as well, and yeah, it's definitely sad. Prayers and condolences to his family and loved ones. But yeah, he like the first thing I thought of when when I saw it on Twitter is when people start that plumber talk nonsense, like this is what you're missing out on. Like, I mean, Willis Reed, I'm sure the people saying that foolishness don't know, like he was as versatile as any big playing today. And then the toughness that you spoke of coming out after tearing the muscle in his thigh, like load management where, man? Like what are we talking about? Like, and it's just whenever something like this happens, it just reminds me of the disrespect that era is shown. Those are the guys that paved the way and laid the foundation, man. And to be perfectly honest, the way I feel about it, the players today don't respect that by the way they operate. And that's you can love it or hate it, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, man, like they should be taking notes, and trying to carry on that legacy instead of trying to diminish it to pump their own selves up. Like, I mean but he was definitely a great player. And the league themselves don't do a good job of shining light on these guys. In the big box media, they really need to get back to showing fans the history of the game. So when you mention a guy like Willis Reed, it's it is reverence attached to it. Instead of people just having to find out how nice he was after he died, and people are playing clips and running down his resume and talking about all the great things he did. So yeah, man, it's definitely sad to see him go. But yeah, man, he was a legend, and yeah, hopefully his his family, friends, and everybody that cared about him, they can they can find some peace in this time.
Wilson.
As y'all said, first of all, prayers and condolences to his family, but lost a giant. And it's one of the things is like as you guys already alluded to. Unfortunately, because we see so much crap on social media every day, which is this era this era that. Like I miss the days when you could turn on NBA TV and just sit there and learn. Like that's all I used to turn NBA TV on
Yes.
for. I'm not gonna lie. Like when it first came out, yes, I'm old, so I'm happy. Old man yellow cloud moment right now. That's cool. NBA TV used to exist, so I could get out of school and learn. That yep. When I get bored late at night, NBA TV. So I fell asleep. Had no issue with it. Learn stuff. It was also fun watching because you appreciated it. You appreciated so if and when, because everyone at some point leaves this plane, like you can appreciate what was lost instead of only a certain segment of people appreciating it. Because he's one of those guys where, yet again, one of the many guys where all the stuff these dudes are doing today doesn't happen without those guys. Like, he's one of the large group that had to suffer through that part of the league's history for these guys to be out here not playing games every night or taking half the season off, etc., or whatever. But again, just a giant in this league, and just wish it was obviously all of us that are old enough and those older than us. It has a huge impact. I just wish it had more of it. The impact would be spread more by like as Ray and Octavia said, just by the league. Like I miss those days of NBA TV because learn so much that way. Learn so much.
Yeah, everybody know. I got a lot of respect for OGs, man. And like Wilson said, that's how we learn. NBA TV literally came out with 97 around the year. Yeah, I think the 50th anniversary year. That's when it came out. So when we was talking about at the time, Allen Iverson, Grant Hill, Shaq, KG, all these guys, Mike had just came back. When Scotty, we was talking about them and Penny, they like, yo, hold on. Like all the fathers, coaches, go study Wilt, go study Bill Russell, all those guys and stuff. So before NBA TV, we would have to go to like, I'm gonna really show my age now, Circuit City. And bloggers, we would have to go get these tapes and VHS, and you had to buy them and really watch them, see what they were doing. Then NBA TV came out and they would just show all the legendary games of all these legendary players 24/7. You could catch everybody. And then you could just sit back like, all right, I see what they were talking about. I see Pistol P. I see Wilt, Big O, all these guys. It's like, damn, they really could hoop. And the ironic thing is, there was no talk of no damn error. There was nothing about error. It was just basketball. And yeah, you would have debates like, man, could Wilt deal with Shaq, or could Shaq dominate Wilt, or Jerry West and Big O against Jordan or something like that? You had a little fun, but they were fun debates, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like, them old dudes can't do nothing. It was never that. This crap just started now with this insecure little ass era that's currently playing in the league. And while they're up here dismissing a lot of what the legends did, a lot of them, oftentimes, the legends done drafted. You feel what I'm saying? Which makes it even more crazy that they're disrespecting them. You got to also understand you're missing out on valuable information. Now he's gone. Bill Russell's gone. Like, it's a reason why I said Bill Russell was always my dream interview. He's gone. I will never get a chance to talk to him because all that information is gone. Like, no one else can replace that. No one has his perspective on things, of how things unfolded or whatnot. And then the recent HBCU debate, you look at what he did at Grambling. That's why I was quick to put up his highlight. His game in Grambling looks like today. Like, he was automatic from 20 feet, but he was a beast. He was a bull. He'd dunk on you, elbow you, you cross the line, he'd beat your ass. Like, it's a famous clip of him literally beating the hell out of the entire Lakers team. Like, beating the hell out, and that's that. That came from a different place, man. Like, you white colonizers, y'all not about to do that. I will beat this, like, not me. Deep South kid. You see what I'm saying? And he came in and battling Bill Russell in his prime, Wilt in his prime, Nate Thurman in his prime, Bob Pettit. He had to come in against some dogs, man. And then by the time he left, he battling Kareem, Jabbar, all like Bill, like all these guys. Like he's battling great big men, and he still managed to get 2 rings out of that. Think about the 1970 when he came out with the torn muscle. It's bad enough I got to deal with Wilt, but now I got Jerry West and Elgin Baylor running around too, man. Like, come on, man. You see what I'm saying? And he had every reason. His joint was torn, and I really think that's what led to him having an early career. Like back then, they didn't have the health benefits and stuff, the technology that they do now. You know what I mean? So I really think him playing with that and stuff like that, playing through that, it overcompensated. They caught up to him later on as his career went on, man. And the fact that they practiced for real, and the fact that they didn't miss games and stuff. But it's fine. And you know why? He don't have no regrets. That's why he can move on in peace and still be respected.
Mm-hmm.
Like I doubt he had to pay for a meal in New York ever again winning 2 championships. Like that in New York, he can go anywhere and he's respected. Some of these other players playing now, nah, dog. You played? That's what they're gonna be asked. You played? When? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta always respect OGs. So once they gone, man. We miss a pillar. He's one of those guys that the league stands on. And I know people gonna make the debate about what could he do. We actually saw him the other night. Look at what Domantas Sabonis is doing. That's exactly what Willis Reed would be doing. But Willis was a little bit meaner and had a little bit more mounts in the stuff than Sabonis. So them little pump fakes that Sabonis was doing to the Wizards all night, those would have been dunks with Willis Reed. And he had 20-foot range back in the day with no three-point line. So they saying players back then didn't shoot it. Yes, they did. What's the difference between Willis Reed shooting from 20 and taking a step back and shooting from 23? That ain't nothing. And he was doing that in college. So just goes to show you the talent and all that stuff for a lot of guys back then was just on par. It just wasn't as many cameras around, man. And once again, man, condolences to him and his family. We lost a giant. And also, just leaving on this, man, it also shows how corny it is to just disrespect errors, because the guys that do it are very strategic. They know who they point out. You know what I mean? They don't really point out everybody. You know what I mean? Because they know they to this day aren't as good as some of these other guys that they want to dismiss and stuff like that. Like, no disrespect, Willis Reed would still be an all-star. I was talking to my homies that play coach in college. I was like, right now, Willis Reed will be starting on your college team right now, son. So if things was that much more evolved, why is he still able to start on a lot of teams in the NBA and college right now? It's just all talks, and that talks just need to go away because it's stupid and it accomplishes nothing. Moving forward, we're going to get on the NFL side of things. Martin Maskey of the Washington Post reports that the new deal for Roger Goodell, who turned 64 last month, will last until 2027, meaning he's re-up as commissioner. It remains unknown whether the new deal will be Goodell's last one or whether the latest arrangement requires a firm of succession planning. Currently, there is no one who is being prepared to take over for Goodell. The owners, most of whom are significantly older than Goodell, presumably will prefer that he remain in the job indefinitely. For all these reasons, they still will be wise to have a clear plan in place for the future. Even a ship proving clear, open waters need a captain who will avoid finding an iceberg into which it will be steered. The new deal will be final if it at least 24 the owners approve it. There's currently no reason to believe that the proposed contract will be rejected. Ray, what are your thoughts on Goodell being re-up until 2027?
Like you said, it's not surprising, but homeboy got to go, man. I mean, his tenure has been interesting to say the least, but I mean, and then the fact that there's no, like, it's not even a thought of him not being around, like that says a few things, man, especially with you know, with how the owner's been carrying it. They want to keep him in power for a reason, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But the league is, I'm not gonna say suffered under him, but they taking some hits. But yeah, man. But and you said how old now? 64. So you're gonna be what, 67, 68 by the time this thing is up?
Yeah.
Right off to the sunset, man. Enjoy your family, dude. Like, get some young, energetic, fresh blood in there. Maybe they'll have some new ideas. But yeah, I don't want anything to happen to him. But if he decides to step aside, I wouldn't stop him. Because yeah, NFL needs some new leadership across the board. And I'm gonna leave it at that, man.
Wilson.
Yeah, just a reminder for everybody. I know fans don't get this sometimes because some people like to imagine that there's a line between the commissioner and the owners in the NFL. He works directly for them. He ain't going nowhere. They won't let him. If there's a new person, that person's name will also be Roger Goodell. He's not going anywhere. Somebody new might let these contracts get guaranteed, and you know what they won't be doing is that. So, I guess whether I like it or not, congrats Roger Goodell on your contract extension. Probably one of many. I just don't see anything changing, like at all. Again, like there's a whole 26-year-old MVP quarterback out here who nobody wants at all because no one needs that in a quarterback's league. So guaranteed money or whatnot. Shout out to the NFL. Long live Goodell, apparently, for the owners.
Octavian.
I mean, I just think it's funny that like there's like nobody like he ain't got like no intern that might like take over for him like afterwards. He ain't got like no assistant that they looking into. Like it's just nobody. It's just like nope, just him. Just stay for the rest of your life. So and as you've all alluded to, we know why they want him to stay. They want to do what they've been doing and maybe worse. And choose the devil instead of the unknown one. So not that surprised. I'd be surprised if somebody like says like no, we don't want him. That would surprise me the most. Because I think the last time he did his contract, there was some back and forth about the actual terms in the contract and stuff. So I'd just be interested to see about that. But I'm not surprised he'll be here. I had to really check and see how long he's been the commissioner. He's been the commissioner since I graduated high school. Like that's this long time ago. So yeah, it's about time for a change in regime or something.
Roger. All right, move on. Last question. Michael Jordan is in talks to sell his majority share of the Hornets. Michael Jordan obviously bought the Hornets, and it's the only black majority owner of an NBA team. Is in talks to share the franchise. It's not final yet. Jordan reportedly will hold on to a minority share of the team. Jordan first bought a stake in the Hornets in 2009, became the team's governor, and faced ownership. 2019, he purchased the rest of the franchise and took over sole ownership, and in doing so, set a bar for players such as Grant Hill, minority owner of the Atlanta Hawks. Jordan has since sold off some minority shares. Forbes estimates that the value of the Hornets franchise at $1.7 billion, although the publication estimates have been off. Jordan also owns the NASCAR team 23XI Racing, along with current Joe Gibbs racing driver Denny Hamlin. Wilson, my bad, Wilson. What are your thoughts on Jordan looking to sell the team and the why you think it is?
We was talking about this at the Wizards game the other day. All that stuff we were just talking about. You want to know who probably can't stand the idea of it? Him. Because he called this 20 years ago. And he's now owned the team long enough to see it happen. And you want to know what? I bet you he's okay with walking the heck away from these dudes, the contracts, and just their overall natural disposition of not giving a you know what. From inception upon entering the league. You think about that dude and his resume and what the work he put in, and think about the work that doesn't have to be put into a degree nowadays, and what people expect. That probably drives him crazy every day he gets to work. I'm surprised we haven't heard any reports about bodily harm being inflicted with in that building. All jokes aside, like we know that man can't stand losing, and what's been happening here since. And I'm not saying this all on him, just in general. But I think the why is, just today's league. It's the worst person to be paired with the majority of the everyday player in this day and age. He can't possibly conceive what these dudes are thinking.
Octavian.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, I just think he's over it. It's a lot, and then like you said, like Charlotte hasn't been winning in a while. And I think Michael Jordan is pretty self-aware. Maybe he's like, maybe I'm not good at this. I don't know. But I mean, I just think he thinks it's over. It's just time, probably. I do think the losing definitely has an effect of it because, as we all know, he's one of the greatest competitors. Nobody wants to consistently lose, and having to deal with the temperament of the players. I mean, think about the players recently dealt with the whole Montrezl Harrell situation. What's homeboy that beat up his wife? I can't even
Miles
think.
Bridges.
Him, he's like, what are these kids doing? Like, and this is gonna sound real bad. He need to go find his son and get his son together as well. So maybe he needs more time. Marcus out here wilding. But I think he's done. I can't be serious. I'm sorry.
Y'all don't say nothing about Lori Harvey, so we not about to go there. Let's go.
Oh, she be wilding too.
Let's go. On you, Ray.
Yeah, he's probably just over it, man. And you can cash out on 10 times your original investment and get away from this nonsense. Why not? So and like Wilson said, man, he probably be damn near retching every day watching these people go about their business the way they do. Like when he first started owning the team, he had to put his practice gear on. So, like it, and I'm sorry, man. Mike is Mike, but if I'm in the league, I'm not losing a 50-year-old Mike. Like what? Like, come on, Jesus Christ! But yeah, I'm sure he doesn't like the way the way that the league is going right now. And Wilson said he said this 20 years ago. We're going to get to a point where guys aren't playing, with sore ankles and taking time off. Like he literally predicted the future, man. And here we are. So yeah, I'm sure he's more than happy to get away with. He'll still have a minority stake in the team, but the main responsibility and having to answer for that stuff, I'm sure he's fine with with not having to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, I mean he's not without blame. He got on board in 2006, so he drafted Adam Morrison, Ryan Hollins, Brandon Wright, Jared Dudley became a solid role player champion. And he drafted DJ Augustine, Alex Ajinka, Kyle Weaver, who they traded OKC. Then 2009, Gerald Henderson, Derrick Brown, Robert Faden. 2011, obviously he hit with Kemba. Tobias Harris, but traded him to Milwaukee. Jeremy Tyler, who didn't last long. Michael Kidd Gilchrist hurt. Jeffrey Taylor in 2012. Cody Zeller, role player. Noah Vonleh still bounced around. Went overseas, came back in the league. Shabazz Napier, traded him to Miami. Dwight Powell. Then you have Frank Kaminsky. Didn't last too long, only a few years. Juan Pablo Valle in the second round. Then in 2016, Malachi Richardson, traded him to Sacramento. 2017, Malik Monk with the 11th pick. Pretty decent starter. Frank Jackson, New Orleans Pelicans, still trying to find his way. 2018, drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who traded him to the Clippers. That hurt. Ain't no point in mentioning the second round pick in 2018. 2019, PJ Washington, Cody Martin, Jalen McDaniels. PJ and Jalen still on the team. Cody, I believe, is he with them or is that his brother in Miami? They got twins. They twins.
I mix them up all the time.
Yeah, one of them there.
Cody is
2020, LaMelo Ball obviously hit with that. Bernie Carey is here, but they released him. And Grant Riller obviously didn't last long. James Bouknight still ain't cracked the rotation. Harley, Scotty Lewis didn't pan out. The other second round pick from overseas, no point in mentioning him. Jalen Duren, they traded him to Detroit. Mark Williams is a rookie, and you got Josh Minnan, who's a rookie. So when you look at the picks, yeah, he struck out a lot, but
might not be good.
That's what he got to take the hit for that. But so do a lot of owners. You know what I mean? And one thing that stuck with me about Mike's ownership, I actually read in the Phil Jackson book years ago. I think it was in the 11 Rings. He said when Mike called him when he was about to buy a stake in Bobcats at the time, and he asked Phil what did he think about him doing it. Phil was like, I think it'd be a good move. It'll probably drive you crazy as being as competitive as you are, but he said you want to work, man. It's different than playing. You gotta understand you ain't gonna be able to suit up and save the day. They gonna have to do it. And he said you also gotta understand you've been dominant for so long, the league ain't gonna help you win. And I'm not either. And I don't think Jordan really caught on till later on, like, man. So ain't no telling what trade proposals he was trying to do behind the scenes. The league, like, nah, dog. You got your 6. You better build through the draft, homie. Free agents. Like, I'm serious. Like, they
thought about that. Yeah.
People don't understand, like, them other people, yeah, they may not hoop, but they got egos too. They highly educated and they making money too. They got egos too. Like, I'm not about to help you win, be dominant as an owner, and we got to hear this. We already have to sit through it as a player. The reality is, man, if you don't get one of them dudes one way or another, you ain't winning. We can sit here and talk about Mike and stuff like that. Like, clearly he knows talent because we confirmed story is when he was with the Wizards, he had everything lined up for Kobe, Jamal Crawford, and Gilbert Arenas to come here with Elton Brand. They was gonna play here. He had everything lined up. That's why the Kwame thing. Kwame keeps saying like they didn't anticipate me to be here. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to get traded to the Clippers with that young mob and Elton Brand, or Chicago, my fault, and Elton Brand was supposed to come here. Now, if all those guys are on the same team, that's a hell of a mob. And then he come back and play. Oh, they doing damage in the East. You see what I'm saying? And he may not have came back because he's like, I know Kobe got that. You know what I'm saying? Kobe confirmed this. So, but it didn't really pan out. Then when he got fired, Kobe's like, yeah, of course I'm not coming. I was coming there for Mike. So, look, man, it with the league obviously not going to cooperate. It's like they were with other teams. They don't see him dominate. And then I know he's fed up because we get fed up watching this crap. It ain't no way of getting around it, man. You know what I'm saying? He's 60. I know he got other interests. He don't need it. The only thing that hurts is now we ain't got no black owners in the league. No majority. That's the thing that hurt. Like, these fools that drove the one black owner out there. Like, it's just crazy, man. So, yeah, man. To come up and get another billion off of it, why not, man? Because, like, I knowing him and just studying him and interview books and all that, watching him, all that, I know he can't stomach, like, I gotta pay this dude who averaged 5 and 4, 150 million.
Yep.
And we still ain't close to winning. I'm good. Let me get my bill bow. Y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. Y'all got it.
Yeah, and we're gonna close out on that. We want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. Truly appreciate it, and we'll be back next week. Don't forget, you can watch the Focus TV Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on our Roku, as early as 9 a.m. on our Roku channel. If you don't have a Roku television, device, all you have to do is type in the Focus TV in the Roku search box, double tap OK on your remote, and you've added the channel. For local residents without Roku, DCTV. Just look in your local listing for your DCTV. And it airs Friday 10 p.m. and Saturday at 4:30. If you're not able to do that either, you can try dctv.org. You can watch a live stream on there. And their website will show you any other time the show may re-air that week. But y'all have a great week. And we'll see y'all soon. To you Wizards Outlook folks, we'll see y'all very soon and several more times this week and next. Y'all have a good one.